What is neuroendocrine system? It includes both nervous and endocrine system. A mature female lays around 2,500 to 3,000 ova at a time. Frog brain is differentiated into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. And what is the medium for the process of fertilization? So it is called as external fertilization. Hello everyone, welcome back to the last session of this chapter called chapter 7 of your syllabus called Structural Organization in Animals. Myself, B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. Hope you remember in my last session we studied about the excretory system. Now in today's session we are going to study about the nervous system in frog. As we all know that the control and coordination in this animal takes place between both the nervous and the endocrine system. So you can call it as neuroendocrine system. Takes place through neuroendocrine system. Neuroendocrine system. What is neuroendocrine system? It includes both nervous and endocrine system. All of us know how important the endocrine glands are for our body. So as they secrete the endocrine substances called hormones, which have a great role to play in various physiological processes. So chemical coordination in frog is carried out by hormones secreted by the endocrine glands. Hormones, as we all know, that they are nothing but called chemical substances which is produced by the endocrine glands. What are endocrine glands? They are ductless glands. So they secrete certain secretions called hormones which are directly poured into the bloodstream. So the chemical coordination is carried out by hormones secreted by the endocrine glands. And endocrine glands that are found in frog are pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, pineal gland, pancreas, adrenal and gonads. So what are all the endocrine glands found in frog? They are pituitary. As you know, pituitary produces many types of hormones. Then thyroid, thyroxine, parathyroid, thymus, pineal gland, which is also called as, which produces a very important hormone called melatonin. Then pancreas, as we know, pancreas is a heterocrine gland acting both as an endocrine and exocrine gland, and adrenal and gonads. So the control and coordination system in case of frog is called as neuroendocrine system, which includes both the nervous and the endocrine system, and chemical coordination is carried out by hormones which is secreted by the endocrine glands. So endocrine glands are found in frog are pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, pineal gland, then that is the pineal gland, and pancreas, adrenal and gonads. Moving on to the nervous system. So the nervous system in frog is divided into three types. That is central nervous system called CNS, then peripheral nervous system which is called PNS, then autonomic nervous system which is called ANS. So this is called PNS, this is called CNS. So CNS, that is a central nervous system, comprises of brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system, that is PNS, consists of cranial and spinal nerves. And autonomic nervous system is again divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic. As we know, there are 10 pairs of cranial nerves which arises from the brain. And brain is enclosed inside the cranium. So as we all know that frog is called as a craniate. Craniate, because the brain is enclosed in a brainy box, hence the name cranium, craniates. And the brain is differentiated into, just like the human brain, even the frog brain is differentiated into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Like prosencephalon, mesencephalon, rhombencephalon. So here it is, the brain is differentiated into three very different parts. Forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So the nervous system is organized into three very important systems called CNS, that is central nervous system, which comprises of brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system, that is PNS, which comprises of cranial and spinal nerves. ANS, that is autonomic nervous system, which comprises of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. There are 10 pairs of cranial nerves arising from the brain, and brain is enclosed inside the cranium, hence the name craniata. And the brain is differentiated into 3 very important parts called forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Moving on to the forebrain. So forebrain includes what? Forebrain includes paired olfactory lobe, paired cerebral hemisphere, unpaired diencephalon. So forebrain, as I said, the whole of the brain is divided into 3 parts. That is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So forebrain includes paired olfactory lobe. Here you can see paired olfactory lobe, paired cerebral hemisphere, right and left, and unpaired diencephalon. And the midbrain is characterized by a pair of optic lobes. Here you can see a pair of optic lobes, and hindbrain consists of cerebellum and medulla oblongata. Here you can see cerebellum and medulla. Medulla oblongata passes through foramen of magnum and continues as spinal cord. Here you can see continues as spinal cord, which runs inside the vertebral column. Hence the name. Frog belongs to which phylum? Phylum Vertebrata. Vertebrate animals are characterized by the presence of a vertebral column or a backbone, which is a supporting structure of the body. So forebrain includes paired olfactory lobes, paired means 2, then paired cerebral hemisphere, right and left, and unpaired diencephalon. Then the midbrain is characterized by a pair of optic lobes. Hindbrain consists of cerebellum and medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata passes through foramen magnum and continues as spinal cord. Here you can see continues as spinal cord, which runs inside the vertebral column. That is about the nervous system. Moving on to the sense organs. So what are all the sensory organs in case of frog? Here, sense organs of frog. Frog has receptor, that is sense organs, to receive the information about the environment. As you know, this animal is such a clever animal. Like for example, if it comes across the predators or enemies, it tries to camouflage or change its body color. So what are the organs of sensory organs in case of frog? So that it is able to receive the information about the environment. The frog has the following receptors, that is sense of touch, sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of sight and sense of hearing. So it is having sense of touch, sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of sight and sense of hearing. So these are all. So frog has different types of sense organs. Sense of touch called sensory papillae, smell called nasal epithelium, vision, that is eye, hearing, tympanum with internal ear. Eye is well organized inside the orbit of the skull. So the eye is located inside the orbit, and there is one membrane covering the eye called as the nictitating membrane, which is a protective membrane for the eye. Ear is an organ for hearing. As you know, it has a tympanum and also an organ for equilibrium, that is balancing. So sense organs include different types of sense organs like taste of touch, taste, then touch, then smell, then vision, then hearing. Then eye is well organized inside the orbit of the skull. Ear is an organ for hearing, and equilibrium, that is for balancing. Moving on to the reproductive system. As I said, the frog is a unisexual animal. What do you mean? So it is dioecious, or it exhibits sexual dimorphism, or sexes are separate. So let us understand the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system. Here you can see the male reproductive system with testicle, spermatic duct. Then we have the cloaca for carrying the male gametes. So male reproductive system consists of a pair of yellowish ovoid testes. So here you can see the ovoid testis, which is called that is attached to the upper part of the kidney, by mesorchium, which is called peritoneum or membrane supporting the testis. So consists of a pair of, here you can see a pair of yellowish ovoid testis attached to the upper part of the kidney by mesorchium, and peritoneum, that is called peritoneum or membrane supporting the testis. So vasa efferentia, here you can see the vasa efferentia are 10 to 12 in number, arises from the testis, and they enter into the kidney and opens into Bidder's canal, and Bidder's canal communicates with the urinogenital duct that comes out of the kidneys and opens into cloaca. As we know, here in case of male we use the word called urinogenital system, where cloaca is the common passage for the elimination of the excretory waste as well as for carrying the sperms. So Bidder's canal communicates with the urinogenital duct that comes out of the kidneys and opens into the cloaca. So the cloaca is a small median chamber that is used to pass fecal matter, urine and sperms to the exterior. So male reproductive system consists of a pair of yellowish ovoid testes attached to the upper part of kidneys by mesorchium, that is peritoneum or membrane supporting the testis. So vasa efferentia are around 10 to 12 in number, arises from the testis, and they enter into the kidney and opens into Bidder's canal, and Bidder's canal communicates with the urinogenital duct that comes out of the kidneys and opens into the cloaca. Then the cloaca is a small median chamber that is used to pass fecal matter, urine, sperms to the exterior. Moving on to the female reproductive system. Here you can see the female reproductive system includes a pair of ovaries. Here you can see a pair of ovaries present near the kidneys. Pair of oviduct arising from ovaries opens into the cloaca separately. But in case of female, the ureter and the oviduct are separate, which leads into the cloaca. Whereas in case of male, it is a common passage. Then a mature female lays around 2,500 to 3,000 ova at a time. See, as we all know that in case of frog, the female frog goes to the water to lay eggs. So it has to, and water is a medium for the process of fertilization. So it is called as external fertilization. As you know, when the female frog, as we all know that rainy season is the best season for the frogs to lay eggs. So the female frog goes to the water and lay eggs, and the male frog goes and sheds sperms on the eggs. And the process of fusion is going to take place in water outside the body, hence it is called external fertilization. But external fertilization has its own disadvantages. Why disadvantages? Because as it has to lay good number of eggs, because all the eggs will not survive. It may be eaten by the predators, or it might be washed away by the water current, or some eggs may be damaged. So that is the reason, to compensate the loss, the female frog has to lay good number of eggs to compensate the loss. So around 2,500 to 3,000 ova eggs are produced at a time. Maybe hardly 10 to 20 eggs may survive. So the remaining may get washed away by the water current, or may get damaged, or may be eaten by the predators. So that is the reason why even external fertilization is disadvantageous when compared to internal fertilization. So the fusion may happen or may not happen. Even it does not guarantee the process of fertilization, right? Then fertilization is external, that is in water. Medium is water. Development is indirect. Why it is called indirect? Because it includes a larval stage. So the eggs hatch into larva, and the larval stage of frog is called as tadpole larva. As we know, many of us will mistake tadpole larva to a fish, because it is having a tail, fin-like structure, etc. So development is indirect, involves a larval stage called tadpole larva. And we all know that frog undergoes a very, very important phenomenon called metamorphosis. So what is metamorphosis? It is nothing but the process of transformation of an larva into an adult. Is called as So tadpole larva, metamorphosis into adult frog. And one more very important thing is, tadpole larva will have a tail, but adult frog as it gets transformed into adult frog, the tail disappears. So female reproductive system includes a pair of ovaries present near the kidneys. A pair of oviduct arising from ovaries opens into the cloaca separately. A mature female lays 2,500 to 3,000 ova at a time or eggs at a time. Why? Because as you know, the female frog goes to the water to lay eggs, and good number of eggs may be damaged or may be eaten by the predators or may be carried by the water current. So to compensate the loss, to ensure the process of fertilization to happen, so good number of eggs are laid by the frogs. As we know, the male frog goes to the water and sheds the sperms on the eggs, and the process of fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete, which is called fertilization, takes place in water. That is, the medium is water, hence it is called as external fertilization. And the process of development in frog is indirect because it includes a larval stage in its life history called the tadpole larva, and also it exhibits a very unique phenomenon called metamorphosis, where the larva gets transformed into an adult. So tadpole larva will have a tail which will disappear once it gets transformed into an adult frog. Hope you have understood all the concepts of this very interesting chapter called structural organization in animals. So we started off this chapter with the study of animal tissues, where we have come across there are 4 types of animal tissues, namely the epithelial tissue, muscular tissue, connective tissue and nervous tissue. And also we studied about the type study of 3 very important animals. One is the earthworm, the cockroach and the frog. And this chapter is also very interesting and also very important from examination point of view. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in this particular chapter called structural organization in animals. So I'll be back with another interesting chapter in the coming session. Till then, goodbye and thank you.